All right, everybody. Welcome to the inaugural episode of Over the Guardrail. I'm Dan Siegel along with Anthony Servino, and a lot to talk about here as we have the fallout from Raw 25 last night, and of course, a big weekend in Philadelphia this weekend with NXT, the Rumble, Raw, and SmackDown. But first, let's talk with the hot topic surrounding WWE, and that is Enzo Amore, released today following an alleged sexual assault incident. The details of which we won't get into. They're on social media if you really want to find out. Enzo apparently was backstage at Raw last night with a shirt that on the front said, "Today is the greatest day of my life." On the back said, "Can't wait till tomorrow," which obviously didn't go over well. And also, apparently, the big thing that led to his release is that Enzo knew about the allegations well before the news came out yesterday and did not tell WWE's officials. So it has certainly been a long and hard fall for Enzo Amore that has now obviously ended up in his release from WWE. Your thoughts?
It seems like it's been like quite the roller coaster for Enzo in his short career, right? I mean, he was a few months ago. I know he had some issues in the locker room where he was kind of thrown out of the locker room.
Well, yeah, if you remember, Miz cut that promo on him in which he said he got kicked off the tour bus, thrown out of locker rooms, things like that.
Look at his personality. Look at his personality in the ring. And it's like a lot of these guys, they're very much bringing out a character in themselves. And Enzo seems like he has a couple screws loose. And, I'm not surprised that somebody, and I hate saying this, but he kind of fits the bill, right?
Yeah, and as you know, when it comes to anybody of celebrity status in these situations, we have a he said, she said situation. In this situation, not so much Enzo saying anything as where there's a friend of the alleged victim, apparently, who says that the victim is lying and she has proof. And again, a video online that I'm not getting into. But, if you think about it, when they did the split with Enzo and Cass, that kind of seemed to be the beginning of the downfall for Enzo. Enzo never really found his footing away from Cass. And, the Cass and Enzo feud never really, I think, took off the way they wanted it to. Enzo eventually kind of got banished, if you want to use that word, to 205 Live, where he became the guy, so to speak. But even that never really, I don't think took off. Enzo as a heel, I don't think necessarily worked. And I don't think Enzo ever really found his footing.
He's the road dog without Billy Gunn.
That's a decent comparison.
That's how I see Enzo and Cass, and that's how I always did. They were a cheap ripoff of New Age Outlaws.
But at the end of the day, Enzo was his own worst enemy. I mean, we've heard the rumors as you mentioned before, and like I said, the big thing here apparently, which is the reason why he was suspended indefinitely yesterday when the news came out, and as we've seen with other wrestlers, you can be suspended indefinitely until this kind of progresses along further. But apparently the straw that broke the camel's back in this situation is that Enzo's known about these allegations for some period of time and never made WWE officials aware. So WWE, which obviously has a no tolerance policy when it comes to this situation anyway, finding out Enzo knew and didn't tell makes a bad situation look worse, and they wipe their hands of it immediately.
Where does Enzo go from here? Is he somebody who's going to make his way to like New Japan or TNA, or is he going to linger on the independents?
See, TNA is tricky because you don't know what TNA is right now. TNA is still struggling to get a TV deal. I mean, I don't, is TNA a promotion other than the name at this point? I don't know. I would think that, first of all, we have to see where this goes. I mean, if Enzo were to convicted, then I don't think he's ending up in any promotion. But if if this kind of goes by the wayside, he might be. I don't know if the Enzo star is bright enough for a big promotion like a like a Ring of Honor or somebody like that to take him. So he might have to go to the Indies to try and build that back up. And maybe even rebrand himself. I don't know if the Enzo character is the way to go for him once this ends.
Why not just go try to make your career as a manager, somebody like him? Because that's, why not like a new age mouth of the South Jimmy Hart? I mean, he has the mouth for it. He has the charisma.
His ego is going to have to take the hit, and I don't know if he's got it in him.
Right.
Will this crash the star far enough where his ego gets bruised enough where he's willing to do that? That's the question. But at this point, no, I don't think he would ever consider that. Wow. All right. So that's that. Let's move to Raw 25 last night. And where do I begin with this? This thing was built up, and even yesterday there was talk about how WWE, with everything they had put into this, wanted this to be bigger than the Raw after WrestleMania. And we know how big those Raws are. And needless to say, not only was it not bigger than any of those, it was a colossal failure. And I can point to any which way you want to go. But let's start with this one. And this is one that's been publicized. We had two venues. We had the Barclays Center, and then we had the Manhattan Center.
Right.
Okay. Now, they do the Manhattan Center, obviously, because that's where Raw originated back in the early 90s. And they wanted to do, kind of a before, a then now kind of thing. However, what was the use of the Manhattan Center? They went to it once an hour. You had the Undertaker spot. You had Bray and Hardy match. And then you had the ending with the DX. That was it. What was the point of going to Manhattan Center? You watched Raw on a big screen for 3 hours.
No. They didn't even do that, I don't think. Did you not see the report that the fans at the Manhattan Center were kind of killing the WWE for not having the live feed? I have to go double check.
I thought it was the opposite. You might be right, but nevertheless, regardless of the fact, what was the point of buying tickets at the Manhattan Center? They didn't do anything. I don't care about all the dark stuff that they did off camera. That's not enough. There was no use of the Manhattan Center in that entire 3-hour broadcast.
Yeah.
Because I got the Undertaker's weird promo, which we're going to get into, and a DX reunion at the end. That's supposed to make it worth me to be at the Manhattan Center? No, come on.
By the reaction of the fans, did they advertise? And I know we're going to get in the Undertaker in a little bit, but it seems like, were they aware the Undertaker was going to be at the Manhattan Center, or is that like a surprise pop where both venues? Because the fans, the crowd, it seems like, we remember there were people like in tears, like they didn't know he was going to be there. So I would say that's a cool thing that the WWE did for them. But
I don't think they said who was going to be where, because here's the thing. If you got tickets to the Manhattan Center and they had said ahead of time, well, here's who's going to be here. Okay? If you knew you were basically getting Undertaker and DX and that was it, are you going to go? Is that really worth it to you?
For the hardcore fans, I'm going to say yeah. But not for everybody.
That was just one of many major missteps last night, and that
they did not have a jumbotron. By the way, that's
there you go.
And fans at the Manhattan Center are chanting, not the nicest words, for lack of action and no jumbotron to watch at the Barclays Center. So,
I said, that was a monumental screw up. On a night of many. So let's get to the Taker's promo. Which, first of all, okay, let's talk about the promo itself. Taker cuts a Taker promo, nothing wrong with it, except I have one issue with it. Not factual.
Okay, enlighten me.
He says that, for 25 years, people have come, and he mentions, the likes of Shawn Michaels and Hulk Hogan or whoever else he brought. He mentions names and he says they've all come and they've all fallen. I think Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns would have something to say.
Right.
So not factual. Not factual. But I digress. A small thing. So let's get to the bigger thing. What do you get from that promo? Nothing. Nothing. You don't know if there's going to be another match. You don't know if he's retired. It's completely open-ended. I think you have more questions following that promo than you did before the promo.
Do you see anything happening at the Rumble?
Here is the latest surrounding The Undertaker. As the rumor was for nearly 2 weeks leading up to this, the expected outcome of this Taker promo was that Cena was supposed to come cut it, and this was supposed to set up an angle which would lead to a Cena-Undertaker match at WrestleMania. Apparently, the Samoa Joe injury, which is forcing him out of the Rumble, screwed up plans in which the Cena Elias situation that happened last night, that was originally supposed to be Samoa Joe. Because they had little time to alter lines, they scrapped the Cena Undertaker thing to set up this Cena Elias feud for what we could obviously see at the Rumble. And the Taker Cena thing is still open-ended. It could happen at Rumble. It could happen next month at Elimination Chamber. It could happen at any time in between. So the expectation is that there is still this Cena Undertaker match to be had at WrestleMania, but yet we have no idea when any sort of buildup is going to happen for it. And considering everything that went into last night, the boom that they got in ratings last night, you couldn't find anybody else to do that with Elias, and you screwed up that?
Yeah, that's a head scratcher. All of it was, here's what I thought was going to happen, and because the two venues, what would you say, the Manhattan Center and Barclays Center, 15 minutes in that city?
Depending on traffic, I'd probably stretch it maybe a little bit, 20-25.
Okay, you're telling me that they couldn't find a way to get to The Undertaker from his first segment to the end of that show, because nobody would have expected that. Not one person.
Yeah, you could have. Here's the thing: you could have doubled up on Taker. That's fine. Here's my thing. Why are you wasting Cena with Elias? What is the big deal there? That's not a long-term thing. And what? That's going to give some rub to Elias? No. You could have came up with
Cena's not putting Elias Sampson over, right?
Cena doesn't put anybody over. Come on, let's calm down. We know that. But come on, you could come up with anybody better. That was one of many wasted opportunities last night. Let's go to another wasted opportunity. They toss the women, the divas, if you still want to use that word, out there. The Bellas, the Maurices, the Tori Wilsons, the Kelly Kellys, the Trish Stratuses of the world. Okay? Right. First of all, Lita nowhere to be found. Okay, which, again, if you want to listen to the rumor mill, there's a reason behind that. But still, if they had done it my way, you could have had Lita out there. Okay? I find it hard to believe that of the women that they put up there last night, not one of them will be in the Women's Royal Rumble on Sunday. I find that hard to believe. Okay? So,
if they're supposed to have 30 women.
Well, okay. So let me tie this all in so you can see where I'm coming from.
Okay.
Lita supposedly not on the show last night because they wanted to kind of keep her away to make it a bigger surprise for the supposed and now expected her showing up for the Women's Rumble. Okay? Don't necessarily agree with that. I don't know that it makes it any bigger. You know, actually, if anything, you're putting more of a spotlight on because everybody expects to see her in that situation. Right. Now, okay, if you didn't want to use that where you bring them all out to make any sort of statement, fine. But here's the thing. Think back to the women's tag, the six-woman tag match early in Raw. Okay? The ending of that match has a big brawl. Sasha puts Alicia in the bank statement, end of match. And then it's Sasha, Bayley, Asuka in the ring. And Asuka eventually turns on Bayley, turns on Sasha, throws them over the rope to show some sort of dominance leading up to Rumble. How much better would it have been if that match ends and then you have even one or two, you don't have to have a ton, but one or two of the old who will come back for the Rumble come in and announce themselves. They did nothing. There's no build-up for the Women's Rumble. None.
No. And maybe the build-up is it supposed to be the anticipation of we don't know who the rest of the entrants are? Is that what they're trying to do?
Listen, okay? We're going to get into you know what? I'm going to say that because we're going to dive into the Rumble in a little bit. But I need something. Okay, even with the men's Rumble, okay, there's always the half dozen or so quote unquote surprises, okay, that there's no build-up for and whatever. Okay, this is the first ever Women's Royal Rumble. Okay, and I have no problem with you doing surprise entrance because, you know, due to the fact that you're doing a traditional 30-woman Royal Rumble and due to the roster, you're going to have to pull from places. I get that. But you got to do something to build it up. I mean, even in your bad attempts last night, okay, look at the Cena Elias thing. As bad as it was, it's still a build up to the Rumble. They've done nothing. Nothing. That Asuka thing, no, I'm sorry, it's not a build up. Asuka's already coming in probably favored for that. I don't need her to show any dominance.
But, you know, it is the first ever Rumble, and I feel like the WWE is taking that as, hey, it should be a big enough draw, that alone. Doesn't mean I agree with it, but it seems like that's what it is. Like, here's the first ever Women's Rumble. That's your build-up. There it is. Be excited about it. And I feel like that's what their mentality is right now.
The build-up for the Women's Royal Rumble is around one name and one name only. That's it. And WWE hasn't done anything about it, and they're not going to do anything about it because if that happens, like people expect, okay, that's the big surprise.
Right.
Okay, but, you know, as far as a build, you got to do something. Something.
Listen, the WWE has been terrible lately. And this is not new. This is not surprising that they dropped the ball last night.
So many. What was the point of the general managers last night? They just tossed them out there. They tossed them out there for nothing.
I don't see a point in anything in that show last night. I feel like the show was about, hey, let's bring back legends. Let's fill out, you know, like how many times are we going to see the Steve Austin spot? We saw it at WrestleMania.
And here's the thing.
How many times are they going to do the Stone Cold Stunner to half the ring? And that was the biggest pop last night.
And that's the other thing about last night is that they put such an emphasis on the legends or, you know, the old guard, whatever words you want to use. They put such an emphasis on them. And outside of Stone Cold, they didn't work them into anything. Okay? And as far as the current roster, what did we get last night? We got a women's tag match. We got Miz versus Reigns. We got the Lesnar Strowman Kane thing at the end, which I'm going to get into in a second because that was awful too. I mean, they did nothing for the current roster, and they botched the old guys. Austin was the only one that they worked in, and they had to. They didn't have a choice.
But who else did they really have of note? Harvey Whippleman?
Here's the thing. Oh, no. Hear me out on this. Okay? Because I feel like I keep harping on this, but I'm gonna go back to it again. Look at what happened with Cena and Elias. Okay? Now, I get that they're using it as a build for Rumble, whatever. Now, look at what they did with Elias at the start, where when he's coming out to the ring, it's Jericho. And Jericho does his bit. Would it not have been better to just let Elias go out, let Elias do his thing, and then have Jericho come out, interrupt him, and let Jericho do his spiel in ring?
Yes. They would have gotten more pop out of it. They would have gotten more reaction.
Exactly. And guess what? You don't have to waste John Cena. Listen, you can like Cena, you can hate Cena, whatever side of the fence you fall on. That is a wasted spot for John Cena. For everything that he means and everything that he's going to do leading up to whatever, it's a wasted spot. There's no point for him doing that Elias spot last night. None.
Maybe the WWE, maybe the officials, maybe they let everybody down last night because everybody was expecting this to be a big thing. Maybe they, because that's what it seems like whenever we're expecting it, it doesn't happen, and then it's going to happen at the next events. At least that's what I'm hanging my hat on entering WrestleMania season.
Before we dive into Rumble, let's go back to the fallout here from the Enzo thing, because obviously we're not getting the Enzo and Cedric match on Sunday now. And I know that, WWE has come out and said Daniel Bryan will kick off 205 Live tonight and address the Cruiserweight title and whatnot. But let me ask your opinion on this, because I know that there are some people that like the Cruiserweights and some people that hate it. But whether you like it or not, can't we just kill 205 Live now?
It doesn't do anything for me. I'm one of them. I don't
First,
care for it. I don't tune in.
They still occasionally integrate it into Raw, which nobody cares about. Now they do it after SmackDown, which, by the way, now you're running it against your mixed match tag match challenge. Okay, so what do you think people are watching more? And, the other thing is that it's flopping so badly that they've constantly had to pull people from the main roster to bring them in to try and get, okay, first it was Enzo, Austin Aries they pulled in there. They're right now they're doing Goldust. Neville. I mean, yeah, Neville. I mean, pull the plug. Just use the cruiserweights like WCW did, or like how even you. I mean, Rey Mysterio was a cruiserweight, and you found a way to use him.
Right.
You don't have to. Right. You don't have to do this whole separate thing that you're diluting by bringing other people off the main roster in anyway.
Yeah, I don't see it lasting very much longer. I think they do need to kill it and use those resources somewhere else.
The end of Raw last night, the Brock Kane spot. First off, could somebody explain to me what was the purpose of Angle leading basically everybody that they had in the back, whether you were a legend or the roster or whatever, on the ring for that?
Yeah, that was a head scratcher. That they literally brought out everybody, right? I think
yes, everybody. Because it's funny, you have the broadcast team talking about how Angle is bringing everybody out as security, and as he's saying security, As he's saying security, I see Brother Love on my TV. Because when I think security and I think, hey, I need somebody to stop Brock and Braun, I think Brother Love.
Bruce Pritchard. Exactly. You know,
and
how many more times are they going to use this in the Kurt Angle general manager era? Hasn't he emptied the locker room like 4 times already since he's been general manager? And then
again, what was the purpose of the spot last night? Again, I mean, have it. You know what? The tearing down of the back of the Titantron wasn't enough.
Wasted opportunity.
I mean, Kane.
It's killing time.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Kane is a third wheel in this to begin with. And they made him an even more of a third wheel in that spot last night. Okay, he gets clotheslined, and that's it. You don't see him again.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
You have Brock run down, take out Braun. He hits Kane. Then we have the Brock Braun situation where Braun puts, he throws Brock around. Then he puts him through the announce table, and that's it. We never see Kane again. We see him like one time as they're going off TV where he's on the ground. Like, what was the point? Like, I know he's the third wheel. You don't need to emphasize that anymore.
You know, is there any possibility of bringing back the Brothers Destruction for one more time?
No.
Is that no?
Considering that they're doing, we don't know what kind of build-up this Taker Cena match, if this match is even happening, because it continues to just be a rumor. We have no reason to firmly grasp that, especially after last night, because they didn't do anything to make us believe it. Assuming that match is happening, okay, we don't know what we're going to get. Is it going to start a month from now? Is it, and if it truly is Taker Cena, then that makes you believe that Taker is truly back into the, and what he's been anyway, but he's truly in one-offs. If it's Taker Cena, that makes me, this could really be the last one, because, after Cena, what's left? Over.
Sting.
That's
that dream match everybody wants. Sting.
They're never going to clear Sting. They're not going to clear. Okay, and again, we're going to get into this momentarily. They're not going to clear Daniel Bryan. You want them to clear Sting?
You said what else is left? That's what's left.
I'm talking about realistic options. I don't label that as realistic options. Doesn't get hurt, if Sting doesn't get hurt in that match with Seth, happened. Okay, but then again, if you listen to Sting brought it up to Taker, and Taker wanted no part of it.
Right.
Of a chance. Okay, Taker doesn't. Okay, Taker not wanting it is a bigger hole in your theory than WWE clearing Sting.
So you don't think, speaking of Daniel Bryan, you don't think he's coming back at the Rumble?
Well, depends. Do you want to believe in conspiracy theorists or not?
Because
here's what we know. Here's what we factually know. Sometime now, Daniel Bryan has been seeing independent doctors. And he has done this rehab that is supposed to almost rehabilitate his brain, so to speak. And that from an independent doctor level, cleared to wrestle. We know that as a fact.
Right.
We also know, and Triple H has been very vocal about this, WWE doctors, regarded well above independent doctors, until they clear Daniel Bryan, he's not getting in a ring. So no, a few weeks ago, Daniel Bryan was offered contract, main eventer money, TV as SmackDown general manager. Down. Okay? Now, how do we get from money to be SmackDown general manager to Daniel Bryan's going to be in the Rumble? Because all of a sudden, for some reason, wrestling, the odds for Daniel Bryan to win the Royal Rumble went from 66-1 to 10-1. Internet to go buzz. But do I believe that all of a sudden we went from that, not only going to be in the Royal Rumble, but win the Royal Rumble?
Well, did you see any language of any contracts? Do we really know that's for sure? That's what he was offered to do? Main eventer money to be a GM? Playing a devil's advocate
here. Here's the thing. One place there's a chance from multiple places, and places that are in the know, so to speak, and places that, usually when they say something, they kind of tend to.
Right.
That's when I buy in, and that's where this came from.
Okay.
It may not be 100% accurate. It's got to be in the ballpark.
Because they've teased Bryan quite a few times. They've teased, a return a little bit, right? Didn't he get
he teased it last night.
Right.
Okay, we went back to the Miz Daniel Bryan stare down that we've been doing for 2 years.
And that's what they're going to bring him back to? Imagine that.
Well, here's the thing.
I love the Miz. I think the Miz is very talented at what he does, but if you're going to bring Daniel Bryan back, it better be something better than the Miz.
Miz won the belt last night, about to get a big push, and he is going to be put in a prime spot for WrestleMania. That's why he was given the belt last night. He can't be carrying the belt when he's set to do his usual WrestleMania, let me fight for a title routine. Okay? To Daniel Bryan. Let's make out this. If, and I underline if, Daniel Bryan is in the Royal Rumble on Sunday. First of all, that's the biggest surprise and pop that you're getting Sunday. And number two, head could come up with a bigger surprise from the Rumble. And I say that going with, the likes of the John Cena early return where he came in as number 30, the Triple H return at Rumble, things like that. Daniel Bryan, I think, outweighs all of them.
Definitely. Oh, no, I agree.
So, but no, I don't buy that Daniel Bryan is going to be into the Rumble. What we're going to see at the Rumble, okay? Promotions outside of WWE. Ricochet not only signed with WWE, pulled himself from an indie event, so everything lines up that he's going to be in. There is the potential for Bobby Lashley on Sunday. There's a contract situation where his contract doesn't technically run out in time, but so Bobby Lashley could be in. You have to assume we'll get 2 NXT call-ups for Rumble. They typically do that.
Any surprise legends coming in? Like how they used to bring out Sergeant Slaughter. Is there anybody you see any of that? Because I used to love that. I'm one of those people. I love.
Yeah, but then think about the last couple years and how bad that's been and how they haven't done it.
Right.
So and realistically, who are they going to use? Realistically, okay, names that could realistically show up in the Rumble on Sunday as from a standpoint, or people you see on TV already? Kurt Angle take the Jeep in the Rumble.
Right.
Does Shane McMahon do it? Does Triple H use the Rumble to all of a sudden start a storyline? Right? Those are the guys that I think of as they could be. Else, you know what? Am I going to have Kai and Tai show up so they can get tossed out real quick?
Kai and Tai. Wow, that's a, remember them? Taka Michinoku.
Sunoku driver. Here, all right. Here's the thing that, since we're talking about the men's Rumble, let's talk about that. Here's the question I have. Okay, Reigns obviously is set up to do his WrestleMania title match. For all intents and purposes, it seems like it's yet again. Because we have this split brand thing, does it technically have to win the Rumble to have his Mania, which would be much to the Philly fan delight, as we saw what happened the last time he won a Rumble in Philadelphia. Excuse me, my question to you, Reigns is not winning the Rumble. Is it Shinsuke and then everybody else?
So you think Shinsuke is the clear-cut favorite behind Reigns?
Have this as an obvious choice.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Because I
okay,
can't...
because think about this now. The equation in this scenario. So you can already eliminate half the field. If they're a Raw brand wrestler, they're not winning the Rumble.
Okay.
So all you have to think about is SmackDown.
So here's
Who's
a scenario
from SmackDown.
Here's a scenario, and I brought this up to you before. You know, AJ Styles the champion, right?
Styles is still champion for now.
Okay. AJ Styles the champion. How about a Daniel Bryan and Shinsuke triple threat where they both somehow, they both get eliminated. They both somehow come out of the Rumble, with a controversy. And then you got a triple threat match, the match everybody wants to see at WrestleMania. That's my ideal outcome.
All right. You have two problems with that scenario. Number one, again, you're thinking Daniel Bryan's going to be in the Rumble. And number two, if Bryan and Shinsuke are both eliminated, triple threat match against Styles, one of them would have to win.
Yeah, but okay, what about WrestleMania 10 when, what was it, Luger and Bret Hart, they both eliminated each other?
You want to relive the Luger? Oh, so you want to have it be those two when they go out at the same time situation?
I want a controversy. I want a controversial ending, and that's a good way to get everything rolling.
Well, like I said, your biggest flaw in that plan is Daniel Bryan being in the Rumble, because
right.
I just don't foresee that happening. But seriously, okay. So but again, you still haven't answered the question. Outside of Daniel Bryan, Nakamura, and nobody else. I mean, you can't. Anybody. Your boy Orton is not going to get a run. By the way, his wife was upset. He wasn't on Raw last night.
Oh yeah, that's right. He wasn't. I totally didn't realize that. Wow, that's a little bit of a slight, no? Or do you really, or does he really care at this point?
The wife was upset about it. I don't know if he cared. But seriously, who are you giving me? Who are you giving me? The Baron Corbin thing is passed.
Yeah, and there's no way they can have a Raw, a Raw guy can't win it and challenge the SmackDown champion. That can't happen, or no?
Oh, Raw is going to be Raw. SmackDown's going to be SmackDown. We're not going to have the intermingling.
It's not like they have.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying you give me somebody to even argue over Shinsuke. Makes it that much clearer that it's Shinsuke, unless there's a surprise situation.
What about maybe this is Dolph Ziggler's chance, and you see Dolph Ziggler returning and winning this, and maybe getting that push.
Now, the Dolph Rude storyline is already set. That's not changing. We'll come back to try and put claim. We will have the much continuation of the Rude Ziggler feud that we were having, which is why I don't like this. We already had it, and now you're continuing it. Like, what was the? Let Rude go. Now that Rude's got the belt, let him go feud with somebody else, or better yet, as much as I enjoy Bobby Roode and I like the fact that he's got the title, put the title on somebody else if you want feud with it. Like, don't regurgitate a feud that we've already seen.
But that's what the WWE is notorious for. They regurgitate content. I mean, how many times do we see Cena and Rusev?
Too many.
I mean, they just give you the same thing over and over and over again. They oversaturate you, and guys like us get sick of it. But guess what? Where are we going? And they know that, and that's the problem with wrestling right now. They know we're not going anywhere.
You can't give me any better alternatives for the women's Rumble. As far as I'm concerned, it's two names. Maybe somebody else, that's fine, but it's two names for me.
And Rousey, right?
Asuka or Ronda. That's it. Because if they don't have Ronda, okay, which, by the way, I found it very interesting after all this time talking to Triple H, Rousey, and how that was going, we've had conversations, not being anything definitive. Last week he said, stay tuned. Thing. Now you're setting it up. No more, she's interested, we're interested, blah, blah, blah. Now you've put.
You basically said it's happening.
Don't have her Sunday. If they don't have her Sunday, if she doesn't come out, that might be right up there with the failure of last night.
Yeah. Definitely.
You can't set it up the way that they have
and then not deliver.
Now, see, here's the big thing, is that with Ronda, there's ways to go. And here's why I think if she's in it, she needs to win it over Asuka. Because Asuka is a Raw. She can fight Alexa at any time, and win the title and it be fine. Dream WrestleMania match. Flair screams WrestleMania match.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's definitely the bigger draw.
And I had feelings about how they were going to, they were Rousey, Asuka, but I just don't see how they do that in the short term at work. Unless you're going to have, they could have one win, one beat them, and then that sets it up. But I think people would probably prefer Rousey Flair to Rousey
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I think Rousey Flair is what we all want. That's what everybody wants. And I think that's what we've been waiting for the past year.
Late on how we're Women's Rumble. Okay, so we've already decided how they didn't show her last night because she's probably in good. There were that Kelly, I think it's Kelly is going to be in the Rumble. So that's another one.
Isn't she pregnant?
Trish.
Kelly, she was the one that's is she on that reality show Wags? Is that her? Or is that somebody else I'm thinking of?
I don't know. I don't watch that stuff.
I only know because my wife
the two pregnant ones last night. Yeah. But we know they've talked to Michelle McCool. Will she be in it? Do you think Trish comes back? She teased it. Like, is Trish in it?
I don't know about Trish. I feel like she's established. She's set in her own life right now. I think she's the last one I expect to come back.
And if you watch Total Divas, which on a they showed this, which is why I'm happens. I think return of Brie on Sunday.
Oh yeah, you know, I like I said, I think you know Brian and Brie both want to return. I just think you know Brie's actually that's a good point about her. You know, she has that itch, and I do watch Total Divas and Total Bellas, and Brie Bella 100% wants to return. She's all in on returning.
They showed on Total Divas management, and you know, said that she wanted to talk about a comeback, and they said that they had I do something leading to a with that than to have her come back at the Rumble tomorrow, on Sunday night. Okay, the road to WrestleMania starts Sunday night. So what thought lose Sunday?
What's that? You went in and out for a second.
What other thoughts do you have here leading up to Sunday?
You know, it's more or less. I just don't want to be disappointed again, like I've been by the WWE in the past few months of programming. I think they need to use this opportunity with all the surprise, with the Ronda Rousey, with the rumors of Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella and an Undertaker Cena match. Whatever happens, they need to pull it out on Sunday at the Royal Rumble. This needs to be the setup. Otherwise, I feel like it's going to be a very dull WrestleMania season, and that's the last thing WWE needs right now.
They've set themselves up, despite the fact that they dropped the ball last night. They have still set themselves up with the opportunity to do a lot of different things using both Rumbles. You know, the matches themselves aren't anything great, but both Rumbles present an opportunity to do something, and they cannot drop the ball with that, plain and simple.
You know, do you see anything with the cash-in with Carmella? Speaking of the women,
I was thinking about that, but because number one, there is no. She can't cash in because there's no title match. The belt's not being defended, so she couldn't cash in.
But does it have to be? Is that the rules? Can't she just? Isn't it any time during a promo even, or right? Is that within the rules?
She could. She could just cash in and start a match. I mean, yeah, but
yeah,
I think that's a stretch. Why in the middle of the Rumble she's going to cash in?
I'm just trying to come up with ideas of things that they can
do. Trust me. I would love to see a Carmella cash in on Sunday. I just don't see the opportunity for it. Two things real quick. This awful Jason Jordan, Seth Rollins situation that we have going on here. That supposedly is supposed to lead to a WrestleMania match. Who wants to see that?
Between who?
Them.
Oh God, I can't stand Jason Jordan. Yeah, I just can't. I don't like anything about him.
The whole thing is just awful.
I don't know if he's trying to be a heel, a face, but he rubs me the wrong way, and I've had enough of him already. Like, they botched the angle. Remember that when they introduced him as his son? They botched that. I'm like, this is really what they're giving you?
Yeah, they haven't done anything with that. Nothing. But lastly here, before we go, we want to let everybody know that on Sunday, I will be at the Royal Rumble, which also should be announced Sunday, reportedly will be the location for next year's WrestleMania. WrestleMania 35 in Philadelphia. Philly's actually been trying to get WrestleMania for the last 2-3 years. So this year it seems like they're going to get it. Officially it's down to them in New York as the two finalists, but considering that they said it would either be announced last night or Sunday, if they're announcing it Sunday, it's going to be in Philly. You wouldn't announce in Philly if it wasn't in Philly. So, but I'll be at the Rumble and I'll be live tweeting from there with picks. You can follow me at Dan Siegel Uncut. And you know what, Anthony? I think we're going to run that poll. Which match would you rather see at WrestleMania? Ronda and Asuka or Ronda and Charlotte?
Oh, go for it. I think that should get some traction on Twitter.
I'll say I'm interested to see what the people think. I think they're on my side with this, but you don't know. All right. So that's it for this episode of Over the Guardrail. Again, I'm Dan Siegel for Anthony Servino. Big weekend, NXT on Saturday, Rumble on Sunday, then Raw and SmackDown. Hopefully, WWE begins to pick up the steam that they lost last night, and we'll get the road to WrestleMania officially started. But we shall see. Until then, we'll see you next time.
See you later.